There you go, sir.
All right, I want to welcome everybody to the Public Safety Committee meeting for Tuesday, February 14th, 2023. It's 11:30. Actually, it's 11:33. We're meeting remotely via Zoom. With us today, we have Councilman Vincent Palizzi, Councilwoman Bonnie Katz, our City Clerk, Janice Frank, without a microphone, our IT guy, Chris Black, and Gary Narr. Gary, what exactly would you like me to call you? You're like the codes, the zoning, the guy. I mean, you kind of do it all.
Whatever you want to call me.
All right. Well, I'm going to call you first up on the agenda because the mayor is running late. So let's go ahead and go to items 2 and 3. These are very similar resolutions. And if I remember correctly, Gary, is the first one are the lease and the second is the purchase. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
Take it away, sir.
What I am requesting through the Bureau of Codes is a resolution authorizing an agreement between obviously the city and Whitmer Ford. I know when we did the budget last year, both of these requests were put into my budget. Within the Bureau of Codes, we have 7 employees. 6 of them utilize vehicles. 1 office manager does not. Obviously, I'm using my personal vehicle because we are so far down. As of today, we have 2 operable codes cars. So basically, I'm without 4 code officers that don't have a vehicle to utilize. The one vehicle that we do utilize is actually the street inspector's car. So therefore, I am requesting, it was reviewed by the solicitor Norm Lubin, to purchase 2 2022 Ford Escape vehicles at a payment not to exceed $16,033 per year for a total of 48 months. What we are going to finance through Jersey Shore Bank. And at this point, I can answer any questions. So 2 of them will be financed through Jersey Shore Bank over a period of 4 years. And again, they are within my budget.
Great. Okay, I'll open up the floor for Vince, Bonnie. Anybody have anything?
The only question I would have for Mr. Narr is if we shopped around interest rates when we went shopping for the.
We did, and I partnered up actually with Scott Livermore, who had reached out prior to and has done some vehicles. And we went out to several other banks within the area, and Jersey Shore came in at a bottom rate of the 4%, where some of the other ones were up between 6 and 7%. So we did shop around. And like I said, I did partner with Scott Livermore, Streets and Park, to reach out to Scott Rinker, Jersey Shore Bank.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm glad to hear it. The interest on those payments is what gets you.
Yes, correct.
I have no other questions.
Bonnie?
Gary, you said this is in your budget. Did you, first of all, the company that we're using for codes, I take it they don't have their own vehicles then? This is strictly for our
these are strictly is the staff within the city of Williamsport 7. Barry Isett, who we utilize as far as doing all of our inspections and stuff, they provide their own vehicle, and that's all tied in with their budget that they submit to us as well. So
okay, that's what I wanted to clarify.
This will be strictly for the code officers. Again, we have 4 code officers. We have 1 street inspector, and they have myself basically. And again, for the last 11 years, I've used my own personal vehicle. So what we are requesting to do is for 4 new vehicles, because 2 of the vehicles that we did have in service, one of them will not pass an inspection, and the other one's inspection will not pass when it runs out. However, right now it is not working because we can't keep it in drive.
Well, the other, codes has always gotten the cast-offs, the hand-me-downs from the police department, whoever was trading in for newer vehicles. And it seems like, it's all catching up to us at this point where we have to go after new vehicles. How many people are with the codes that we are outsourced with? How many people are in that group?
Well, it really depends on how we look at that. As far as the ones that we outsource through Barry Isett and Associate, we have a BCO on staff who does primarily all of the reviews as well as all the inspections. Now they do, Barry ISET does have the ability for when we do plan reviews, they send them out to a plan review person within their facility to look at the commercial plans to make sure that it meets all of plumbing, mechanical, electrical. So they make that review at that point. But all other mainly reviews that we keep in-house for smaller stuff is we have BCO Glenn Curander, who is here on a regular basis with me in the city.
Okay, terrific. So how soon would you be able to take over getting these vehicles?
Well, providing council approves that and signs off on the resolution, I have been working with the bank as well as Whitmer Ford, and they can have these vehicles to me probably next week.
Okay, you didn't go after anything from ARPA for this at all, did you?
Well, yes, we did. Actually, we did get two that we did get approved in. And again, when we did our budget, two were going to be financed and two were going through ARPA. So this resolution is for two vehicles that we are financing within my budget, and two of them we're asking, which will be on the next item, to do ARPA funds for the two vehicles. So that way we're not financing all four vehicles at the time.
Okay, I just, reading all through all this, I just wanted to clarify all this. I don't have any other questions, John.
Hey, Gary, I guess first of all, thank you for using your own vehicle for the last 4 years.
11.
Yeah. I know we spoke about this during the budget sessions, but could you just remind me the thought process behind financing two and buying two as opposed to just buying all four of them outright?
Well, that was a question that we had initially, Sam Unks and I, when we went through the process, we're asking for through ARPA, through discussions with the administration and everything. We thought that I was basically, it came down to basically they had said that we'll go through two through ARPA and two through finance. But we initially had asked for all four vehicles to come through ARPA funds.
Yeah, I guess I would just, again, be curious to hear, Bonnie, Vince, maybe your thoughts. To me, it seems like I don't know how much sense it makes to finance something when you actually have the money to just buy it outright. And I don't know how you two feel about that. I don't know if that's something maybe we want to talk about on Thursday.
John, this is one of the things that why I question where this is coming from and what was used from ARPA. To me, we're adding a line item on the budget for codes. Codes has always been the least of our cost factors in the city when you look at everybody else. And to me, like I said, they always have gotten leftovers and hand-me-downs. And to me, for the codes to get new vehicles, I think, why aren't we using all four for ARPA? I think it is a discussion that really should be done on Thursday. That's my feelings personally.
I completely agree. That's good observation. I'm glad it was brought up. I was sitting here wondering myself, why are we doing this? If we can avoid paying all the additional interest charges and fees, if we have the ARPA money, why not just purchase them outright? So, yeah.
All right. Well, it sounds like we're kind of all on the same page here. So I think this is something that maybe we need to discuss a little further on Thursday with everybody. Again, this ARPA money is not going to be around forever. We have to allocate it. We have to spend it. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to finance something. I mean, personally, in my own life, like if I have the money to buy something, why I'm not going to finance it. But again, that's just my opinion. So at any rate, I guess that will, Gary, take us to item 3, which is then purchasing two cars for codes.
Correct. What the resolution for this one is through ARPA funds. Two of the Ford Escapes are 2022 Ford Escape vehicles that we would go through ARPA. And again, basically it's a total of $28,300 some per vehicle that we are requesting. So basically it'll be a little over $56,000 for the two Escapes to go through this resolution through ARPA funding versus finance. And in the resolutions, both of the resolutions is a letter that basically explains that it's a total of, I believe, $116,000 for all four vehicles, but two of them in this resolution are going through ARPA funds, where the other two we had just previously discussed were going to go through finance route through Jersey Shore Bank.
Okay. I mean,
Gary, do any of these cards need to be outfitted with anything different than when we pick them up?
No, the only thing that we would do, and I have within my budget, is obviously they are going to be all white vehicles. So it's just a matter of working with Keystone Advertising to come up with graphics just to place on the vehicle saying Williamsport Bureau codes.
Okay. And why did you go with the Ford Escape?
Well, because obviously we have two Chevy Cobalts and they're smaller cars. We have also two Chevy Cruises, and we've had nothing but maintenance issues with them since they had been purchased. And obviously they do sit a little bit lower to the ground than what these Ford Escapes do. And my officers obviously do spend some time within the alleys, and some of the alleys basically are in, are some pretty rough areas, I guess. And that's basically what we looked at. It's about the same size. It'll hold the officers as well as some other equipment in the rear. So that's why we elected to go to that route versus go back with like a Chevy Cruze or a small vehicle. And these are all-wheel drive, which before the other vehicles that we had, which was the Cobalts and the Crown Victorians that we were using, the Crown Vics that we were using, none of them had all-wheel drive. And obviously we haven't had a mild winter this year, but that was one of the reasons that we looked at. It was between the Escape and possibly looking at the Chevy Trailblazers, but we thought this was a better fit for the Bureau codes.
Okay, thank you very much, Gary.
Thank you.
Vince, anything else to add?
Yes, if I may, I just had one quick question. Gary, you said you've been driving your own personal vehicle for 11 years. We have how many codes officers that should be having a vehicle?
This will give us a complete complement. What it'll do is it'll give the four code officers will have a car and a street inspector, and then basically one for myself. So right now we are down to two vehicles. So basically, and how it's allocated is the one operable codes car goes to one officer. The other operable goes to our street inspector. So they are the two. So I have three code officers without a car as well as myself. So this would give us a full complement.
So you've been driving your own vehicle.
And
are
the previous
other codes officers also driving their own vehicles?
No, none of them. I don't authorize that. Basically, it always was in the past, both the BCO, the previous BCO, myself, I've always driven our own personal vehicles because we never had the ability to have the allocation, because again, we were getting most of the vehicles were hand-me-downs. So at this point, I think, like I said, I'd like to move forward within this direction to get the vehicles to give us a complete complement. And then if the city elects to bring on a BCO, the BCNO I could possibly share a car, or at that point, maybe add another vehicle. But until that happens, this would give us a complete complement so that each code officer, as well as myself, will have a vehicle.
Okay. I guess what I'm curious is how long have we only had two vehicles?
Well, we've had four, but the issue that we had is one of the vehicles that we had, its inspection ran out in December, and unfortunately the inspection company said that it will not pass an inspection because it's rotting out. The other vehicle, they did get it inspected, so we did have four vehicles, but again, the one ran out in December, so that took that vehicle away, and the other one is only good until about April timeframe, and we were advised from the inspection group that one wouldn't pass either. And we are having issues with it currently where it left us sit downtown because we couldn't get it out of gear. So without trying to do maintenance on it, we were able to get it back up here to the area. So that's where we sit.
Okay. Now, what I was merely curious is that if we only had, if we have four codes officers and one street officer, and we only had two operable vehicles, how are the other codes officers?
They are
traveling.
Yep, they are sharing and going out. So basically, I have them, which I have one of our newer code officers that gets out and shadows with one of the experienced code officers at this point anyway. And a lot of times what happens is when they are assigned to go out and do rental inspections, they are able to team up because they are doing 20, 30 some units. So that's the way we're trying to do it right now, just to get us by. But again, that slows us down from each one of them being out in the area to see what some of the violations may occur within the city.
Understood. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Thank you. John, I have no more questions.
And Gary, what's going to happen with the cars that aren't good, the inoperable vehicles?
Well, what we've done is obviously, like I said, I rely on Scott Livermore quite a bit. What him and I have discussed is we're going to put the one that's obvious, both of them we're going to put on municipal bid. Obviously, we'll get what we can get for it and that come back in the code budget. The other one that is inspected, we may be able to get a little bit more for it. So we are putting on a municipal bid website to at least recoup some of that money. But obviously, we don't know how much we're going to recoup at this point in time. So if we can get $300 for the one that can't get inspected, or more, I don't know, but we won't know that till we put it on for bid.
Okay, I saw our fire chief sign on here. I don't know, could we use one of those vehicles to give the firefighters some practice in putting out a car fire, maybe?
Again, that would be up. We'd have to look at liability and things of that nature, but I'm sure that's something that we could work out.
At any rate,
I will volunteer to throw the flame.
okay.
I think I'm going to, because they've been giving me the most headaches.
Right.
There's a
Yeah.
line of volunteers to
Yeah,
set those cars ablaze.
Gary should be allowed to set that on fire.
I think he should.
At any rate, okay. Gary, well, I appreciate you coming on here today. And like I said, I think we need to have a little bit more conversation with the full body council on Thursday night about lease versus purchase. And having not heard anything from the mayor here, I'm just looking at the items on the agenda for him. These all look like pretty easy agenda items. So Sam, if you don't have anything, I will suggest that we wrap this meeting up and just handle items 1 and 4 on Thursday night at the full body at the council meeting, if everybody's okay with that.
I'm good with that. I don't really have anything else to add. I apologize for being late. I just wanted to be here to support Gary.
Yeah, Vince, Bonnie, I mean,
I'm
see,
okay
we
with
don't
that.
have, we don't have we don't have either reappointments here or anybody from the hospital. I think these are both items that we can get through pretty quickly on Thursday night. So I think as the chair of the Public Safety Committee, I'm just going to go ahead and say that's what we're doing. So I will take a vote, not a vote, but anybody. What?
I make a motion to adjourn.
That's it, a motion. I'm going to take a motion for adjournment.
I'm coming second.
All right, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, thanks, everybody. We'll see you Thursday night.
Okay.
Thank you.